go straight to business. And Stephen is with us here on set today. Stephen, you've more on that volatility on the price of Bitcoin for us.
Yeah, that's right. It's been a pretty chaotic week on the cryptocurrency markets. Last week we had Bitcoin tumble in value when Tesla said that it would stop accepting it as payment. Then we had the Chinese Banking Association warning that its member banks should absolutely refrain from dealing with digital currencies because of the risks involved. Both of those sending the price of Bitcoin tumbling, and all cryptocurrencies, we should say, down from in the past week around $50,000, hit a low of around $30,000. According to the website CoinDesk, which aggregates prices across several exchanges, Bitcoin is bouncing back now. It's up around $40,000 a barrel, effectively wiping out the losses of the past 24 hours. It's up slightly, in fact, on the past 24 hours. Similar pattern across cryptocurrencies, as I said, just the price swings most pronounced in Bitcoin because it's the largest of them.
So why is it moving up again then?
Well, perhaps unsurprisingly, it's to do with Elon Musk, one of Bitcoin's biggest cheerleaders, of course. As investors were bailing out of it yesterday, the Tesla CEO tweeted that the electric car maker was holding on to its Bitcoin by using the diamond and hand emojis, which are very popularized among Bitcoin investors. That's a sign of confidence that Bitcoin investors were looking for, apparently. Price swings not unusual in the history of Bitcoin. We've been reporting on them for years now. This is the nature of the beast. It's a speculative asset, which means that the value is entirely based on what people think it's worth and think it's going to be worth in the future. It doesn't have an intrinsic value, so as a result, it does tend to move around quite a lot. Even with this most recent sell-off, prices are still up some 300% over the past year.
Yeah, so if you bought some, well done to you. Next, to the latest results from the airline Easyjet.
Yeah, we know the travel industry has been particularly hard hit in the past year. Easyjet reporting losses of €637 million for the 6 months to the end of March. Passenger numbers for the period at the airline down by 90%. Now, there are signs of more encouraging figures to come. The airline said it'll be flying just around 15% of its capacity until the end of June, but that it will be ready to ramp up to 90% over the summer period as travel picks up. This, of course, as the UK is slowly beginning a return to international travel. That's the key base for Easyjet, but of course talk of change in EU rules as well.
Yeah, who knows what's going to happen between now and the summer. What about the stock markets? What's happening there?
Well, not much movement actually on EasyJet shares after those latest results, although travel shares in general are getting a bit of a boost from this talk of more travel this summer. European markets, you can see they're generally up across London, Paris and Frankfurt. There were some jitters around in trading in Asia earlier, some concerns among investors about the Federal Reserve and when it might start reining in its economic stimulus. That was after some comments in the US Central Bank's latest minutes. Just Tokyo there in Asia seeing some small gains.
Let's take you to the US for this next story. Many employers there are really struggling to find workers as business gets back to normal.
It's a particular problem for low-paid jobs and in the fast food industry in particular. As a result, employers are having to increase wages and offer extra incentives to fill open jobs. Solange Moujon has more.
A symbol of America, the around-the-clock diner, where coffee and pancakes are served all day, every day. Except this restaurant in Wisconsin has to close on Wednesdays, for there aren't enough staff to fill the shifts.
Hopefully we'll get to be open all day or all week soon if we get more people in.
The for hire signs don't suffice, for in the United States, thousands of low-paying jobs remain unfilled. When the pandemic hit, companies laid off massively. The government issued stimulus checks and boosted unemployment benefits. Now, either because of continued fears of COVID, lack of childcare, continued unemployment benefits, or simply low wages, companies are struggling to find candidates, so they're adding incentives.
We're offering a $250 sign-on bonus for all positions. It's also a recruiting bonus too.
Amazon's planning to add 75,000 jobs. Chipotle, the Mexican food chain, is adding 20,000, and McDonald's 10,000. All three employers have promised to raise wages, often doubling the federal minimum wage of $7.25, a salary hike these companies can afford.
Enormous profits at the top. Amazon especially was a winner during the pandemic as people switched to online shopping. It's not like these gains are fully being shared with all of the workers, so we have a lot more room there.
Employees and Democrats have long called for a federal minimum wage of $15, but legislation continues to be blocked, with many Republican-led states preferring to cut unemployment benefits.
And last but not least from Stephen, the UK arm of Gwyneth Paltrow's brand Goop is in trouble with regulators.
The wellness company was originally set up in Britain, but it's moved its headquarters to the United States in 2014. Now, the British brand has been dormant for several years now, but it's been threatened with being shut down after failing to file its accounts on time. It did get an extension from the company's regulator in the UK to submit them, but if it doesn't, it'll be struck off the register and its property will be transferred to the Crown.
Okay.
Which would be
Why?
interesting. Now, it's unclear exactly what property would be attached to the UK arm of the business, as everything is run out of the United States now. But overall, the company is reportedly worth around 220 million euros. It has also been subject to some criticism for some of its wellness tips and therapies.
We think there should be an L in it, because that would, I don't know, just
Something
sounds
else.
better somehow. Stephen Carroll with Business Opera 20.